persecution. But the Israeli government has granted asylum to fewer than 1%. It says the migrants have become a threat to the security and identity of the Jewish state.
The government calls this an open stay centre, but it's run by the prison service and conditions are strict. At night time there's a curfew, so residents have to report back by 10 p.m. They're not allowed to work either, and in such an isolated area there are very few things to do during the day.
If someone is living here in Holot, it means that you have no future. If somebody come to Holot and get crazy that his mind is not recovered forever, this man is already dead.
The residents can be held here for 12 months. After that, the choice is stark. They can return home, or they can agree to go and live in a third country in Africa. And if they refuse either of these options, they could be sent to prison indefinitely. The BBC has spoken to people who say they were sent to Rwanda and Uganda, and that Israel's promises that they will receive basic protections there are not being fulfilled. Tesfaye, who's now in Kenya, says he was sent to Rwanda. 2 days after he arrived, he told us he was forced to pay a man called John to smuggle him into Uganda.
When we cross the border, that's what I understand, we are smuggling, illegal border crossing. It's not been what they are promising. It's totally have no any safe, have no protection at all.
Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has only said that his government has been in talks with Israel over hosting its migrants and has never confirmed a deal. Uganda has denied outright that such a deal exists, but has told the BBC it's now investigating how migrants who claim to be sent from Israel are entering the country. In Kampala, this man, who's from Darfur, told us that he was sent from Israel to Uganda with 7 others, and his papers were taken from him at the airport when he arrived.
None of the things that I was being promised was given to me, none of things. They just want to take people and dump them anywhere else.
He told us that after 9 months he did manage to get refugee status in Uganda. The lack of transparency in the so-called voluntary departure process to third countries raises many questions that have led legal experts to argue that Israel is in breach of its obligations under the UN Refugee Convention.
The lack of proper monitoring, I think, cannot really secure in the necessary certainty that those people would not end up, either without status or in prison, or worst of all, being returned to places where they would face danger.
The Israeli government told me that it has absolutely no doubt that it's acting within the framework of international law.
I am confident that we act here in Israel according to the highest standards. Now, whatever happens within the process is something that we deal with in our bilateral relations with other countries.
That view is due to be challenged next month in a case at the Supreme Court. It can only give hope to those whose search continues for a normal life and a place of safety. Kathy Harcombe, BBC News.